Michael was a different level, man. He's a different level of competitiveness, just sheer will to win. He changed the game. He changed the game. I mean, not just in one aspect, in many aspects, every aspect of the game, he changed it. I played against some of the greatest players in the history of this game. Michael Jordan was one of those guys that lifted my ability to the next level. We enjoyed the competition with one another. We played very hard and fiercely against one another, but it was like you had two gentlemen going head to head. Michael Jordan and I wasn't just coming down the court getting dunks at the dunks. We found creative ways to score. I can't tell you the fun and the pleasure I had to play against him. You know, and Michael and I, we never really talked about those games. It was kind of an unspoken thing between us. You know, the respect level that we had was at a different level. I think I had a great game in Atlanta, and I remember going to Chicago. Michael walks into our locker room, and we're still in suit and tie. We haven't gotten dressed yet, and he walks in our locker room, suit and tie, and I was like, what are you doing coming in our locker room? And I ain't gonna say exactly what I said. And so he walked by me, he walked by Kevin Willis, and he got to Randy Whitman, he tapped him on his butt, and he said, lace him up, it's gonna be a long night. He got 60 that night. He got 60. And it was a very close game. I think it went down to the last shot in that game, but I think he proved his point.
And a beautiful view of the famous Chicago skyline. An appropriate dramatic setting for our game today at Chicago Stadium. Welcome everyone to Chicago. This is Kevin Harlan along with me, Clark Kellogg. We've got David Aldridge joining us from the sidelines as we get set to watch the Atlanta Hawks go up against the Chicago Bulls. Clark, this should be a beauty.
You know, each of these teams, Kevin, as a guy who was in the running for the league lead in scoring. I'm, of course, talking about two guys that don't need introduction, Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. Going to be a lot of fun watching these guys try to one-up each other offensively.
And Clark, beyond just Jordan and Wilkins, plenty of other talented scorers on each of these teams as well.
Kevin, you make a very good point. I mean, these are two impressive high-octane lineups, which I think could result in this score really getting run up in a hurry.
This should be one to remember. And out there for Atlanta, Spud Webb at the point with Doc Rivers at the 2. At the forward positions, Dominique Wilkins and Moses Malone. John Koncak will be at center. And starting things off for the Bulls, it's John Paxson at point guard with Michael Jordan also at the guard. Then Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant at the 3 and 4. The veteran, Bill Cartwright in the middle.
Expectations are high for Jordan and Wilkins in this one. They're both exceptional scoring threats, and I know their teams are expecting each of them to be the difference makers out there as they try to get the W. And that is how you get busy on the glass. What a finish.
Yeah, Clark putting a little extra muscle into that one for sure.
Yeah, look at him, and he's a little hit and miss from there, even without a defender in his face. No guarantee.
Jordan in the corner. Fires from 18. Nice spin off the left rim and in. You know, often, Clark, it's the team's respective leader who sets the tone for their whole squad.
You are correct, partner. So if Jordan or Wilkins can manage to get off to a hot start, that could spread to the other guys and get their whole team rolling early.
That's a good point. The two scoring leaders facing off. But to dig deeper, let's go to a guy who can dig as deep as any, David Aldridge. DA.
Thanks, guys. We know that Dominique and Jordan scoring will probably be the big story of the night, but there's a lot more to these guys' games that could affect the outcome. With Wilkins, we've seen a new focus from him on improving his rebounding. And as always, Jordan's defense can be just as impactful as his offense. Guys, back to you.
You know, David, that's an interesting point, and I think you're right. It's not just Clark about scoring tonight. It's got to be a multifaceted game. Wouldn't you agree?
I certainly would, Kevin. Limiting your opponent's touches and disrupting their shot attempts and their offensive flow, I think could be the real name of the game in this one. You just can't get it done with offense alone.
I know Jordan takes pride in his defense. We'll see if that's true tonight.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on that.
You know, Clark, in some ways, this game could come down to either Jordan's or Wilkins. And who scores the most? Outperforming the other could seal the game for their team.
And, Kevin, that's exactly what we'll be keeping a close eye on. Which one is leading in the point column? Because I agree the winner of that duel very well could decide this thing.
Oh, what a duel it's going to be.
Boy, they've been staggered right now. Reeling. So good idea to use the TO.
First quarter of basketball, just over 2.5 minutes play. It's slammed in by Wilkins. All right, Clark, Wilkins and Jordan. A couple. Chicago, Atlanta. It's a special matchup. And these fans feeling a little extra electricity from Michael Jordan in this one. And it's Malone finishing it off. Obviously, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, Clark, both apply great defensive pressure. You know, but the Hawks have some fast hands and some nice defensive skills of their own.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. I mean, you think about Doc Rivers. If the Bulls aren't careful around Rivers, he could create a lot of havoc and force a bunch of turnovers in an encounter.
Oh, my!
Wow! Oh, my goodness, this little fella can get up in the air. Spud Webb can fly.
Hands it from downtown.
Boy, at the offensive end, his game is so impressive. I mean, he's a threat every time up the floor.
Here's Webb, and he's fouled pretty hard on that shot, but he's got the chance to pick up the points at the line.
You know, Webb is known for being a high flyer. Despite being just 5'6", this guy can get up in the air like very few can. And he knows how to put on the show. He's an entertainer, a high flyer, but he's also a pretty well-rounded player, too. Free throw shooting is about mechanics, confidence, and your mental approach. He's locked in from there most every night.
The #1 objective, Clark, of this Bulls defense has to be limiting Dominique Wilkins' looks. They've got to contain that incredible scoring of his.
Kevin, you're all over it. Right on point. I mean, if Chicago can't disrupt his usual scoring, then they're in for a long night and some real trouble. All too easy for Jordan. Just unfazed by anything the defense throws at him. He's got an answer.
Lots of room. And Grant sends it back. Out of bounds, Atlanta will take possession. Atlanta making a switch here. Willis is checked in.
Kevin Willis.
The Hawks trail by 9. Pass to Webb. Hawks passing it around. Malone misses.
Well, he's much better than that. Really no excuse for missing that lane.
It's good. Jordan's got 12.
Still in the first quarter, and they've already carved out a double-digit lead.
Outside Wilkins. Back to Webb. Will it go? Grant gets the rebound.
Well, you know he wants that one back. I mean, more often than not, he'll sink that mid-range jumper.
They get it back. Cartwright, and the jam by Bill Cartwright.
Unrelenting on the boards. Cartwright using that strength and size to get those second shot points.
Some fresh competition, Clark, for the Bulls and Hawks in the league this year, with 2 expansion teams coming to the NBA in Orlando and Minnesota.
Exactly, Kevin. I mean, these teams are focused on the game at hand. That's pretty obvious, but this is a very interesting time for the NBA. A lot of new talent and a new landscape.
A lot of growing indeed. Time call here. The Hawks decide to talk it over.
The interior defense has been very subpar, and I bet their coach is letting them know about it.
Atlanta with the ball. Down by 15. And the pass to Willis. And here's Rivers. Offline with his three. Pass to Armstrong. Malone with some nice D. The Hawks trail by 15. And here is Webb. A floater, and it's blocked by Jordan.
Boy, much respect for the defense of Jordan. I mean, he gives his all on this end of the floor. I mean, fantastic. Getting his hands up to block shots.
First trip to the line for him here. And that one falls for Willis. Smith checked in for Spud Webb. And Willis drops them both. Clark, I know the Bulls are hoping for big things this year after making it all the way to the conference finals a season ago.
You know, I think Chicago proving they can handle teams like these Hawks could be a really good sign for them as they look to become a more dominant and consistent force in this league.
Smith the pass to Willis. And he uses the glass on the layup.
How about the grit Willis plays with? I mean, he's a strong physical guy, able to take some contact and still power through it and get the shot in.
To the paint, and stolen by Malone. Here's Wilkins. Can't hit that one. Here's Armstrong. Here's Cartwright. Oh, and he just knocked down the buzzer beater.
He was doing whatever he wanted to out there. I love how he closed out this quarter.
And a double-digit lead on the scoreboard as we end the first quarter of play. It's Chicago up by 15.